We need it. Like like oxygen. It's why we breathe it. Like water. Like a boss.
Hi, everyone. We've got another episode here of Women in Tech Like a Boss, and I'm pretty excited to invite this next gal. Her name is Loralyn McIlhenny, and she is, as she describes herself, a recovering corporate executive. Now, that's an interesting thing to be recovering from. She recognized that the small business owners that she was doing these deals with on behalf of her various employers, she found that these owners didn't really have a solid understanding of how to value their businesses and really how to engage in such transactions. So she started her own practice to be able to help these small business owners. She currently runs RVA, as in Richmond, Virginia, Business Academy. Hello, Ellen.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, I'm good. We're all, having fun in this crazy and wacky world right now. But, it's always good to be learning about folks and what they're doing, and especially passion projects like this, where you recognized an opportunity where you can flex both your skills and experience and your compassion and commitment to helping small business owners. So we love to hear that. Well, let's dive in. So now,
Okay.
I know you're still early started. So how many years have you been in with this private practice?
Just over 3.5 years.
All right. Now, what's your big picture vision for it?
Well, what I'd like to do is I'm trying to scale it so I can touch at least 1,000 small business owners over the course of the next few years. And because I feel like there's such a need for what I do.
Well, that's fantastic. That's not a small number. All right. Well, let's see if we can help you with that. So,
Okay.
Ellen, what do you think makes you a good leader?
Well, I feel like I'm a real visionary. Well, I think I'm a visionary. And I think I communicate well enough to convey that vision to other people.
What soft skill do you think is most important for people to have?
Well, I really think dependability is the most important one. People have to be able to trust that you'll do what you say.
Now, you've been in corporate for 30 years, and we're not going to, ask the exact number or anything like that, because that's a, girl code, right? We don't want to do that. But
That's right.
surely you've come across, a few challenges, at least one or two. What's the hardest thing you've ever had to do?
Well, I think transitioning from a secure but really boring corporate job into running my own business, it was way out of my comfort zone.
And it's true, we could make cracks about, people in finance and accounting and all that, but we're going to be kind. That is the philosophy of this show, so we're not going to do that. But we would like to know, why did you do it? Why did you make the switch? And why are you doing what you do now?
Well, I think what really makes this country really special is that strong entrepreneurial spirit of a lot of people. And I want to do my part to help those people.
How do you leverage technology in your practice? You said you're already a vlogger. What kind of tech do you use?
Well, most of my work is done remotely through VPNs into other people's company books and things like that. But right now, I am using Zoom like crazy. I am Zooming with everybody. And I have found that I can use this with my monthly one-on-ones with the owners of the companies that I work with.
It's obviously technology that the world has dialed into recently. So now when you're running your practice here, you've had a few years already in it. Is it the experience that you expected it would be?
Oh my gosh, it's so much more. I've learned more, read more in the last 3.5 years than my previous 30 years in corporate life. I'm embarrassed to say that, but it's true.
Well, it's like now you've got to do everything yourself, right? Like there is nobody to turn to and do it for you, right? It's put a lot of hats on. Yeah.
That's exactly right.
So now that leads me to asking around the bad days, because everybody has some. What gives you the strength to keep going?
There seem to be a lot more bad days recently, but I have a strong network of fellow business owners that I can reach out to, and they'll always give me a boost. And most of these are fellow women business owners.
Which is good. Obviously, we're here to help women. And to that end, have you achieved everything you've set out to do yet, besides the helping 1,000 small business owners, most of whom, of course, will be female? But if not, what's next?
Well, I think I've achieved all my original goals. That 1,000 business owners that I want to reach out to is kind of a new goal. My aspirations have changed so much over the last 3 years, and I still have a lot to do.
Yeah, don't we all? So what do you wish people did more of and less of?
I wish they do more listening and less talking.
Oh, cheers to that. If I gave you a magic wand and said, Ellen, you get to change one thing from your past, what would be different?
No question, I would have started my own business much earlier.
Ah, indeed. I think that's a valuable insight for a lot of the folks that listen to us here. Is there a book you'd like to recommend to our listeners?
Well, other than my book, The Big Turnaround, I have to say that I really like business novels, and Patrick Lencioni has written several really good books, but I think The Five Temptations of a CEO is probably my favorite one.
Ooh, that's one I haven't heard of. I got to add that to my list.
It's
Which
great.
every week gets longer. Every time I interview a guest, I'm like, oh, that's a book I've got to read. And then, I just keep adding it to my list.
Yeah, that's a great question. It gives you a lot of good ideas.
Oh yeah. This is all about learning, right? Not just the audience learning, but like me learning from my guests. I love it.
That's right. That's great. That's great.
So Ellen, what do you want people to know about you or your practice?
Well, I think what I'd like people to know is when I start working with somebody, I don't want to become just another consultant for them. I always like to try to become part of their team, their management team. And I really have a great affinity for the owners that I work with.
If you could, would you share your best tip for the next generation of women?
All right. Well, this sounds a little canned, but this is the one thing that I would say to everyone is to always be your authentic best person.
On the topic of authenticity, our audience is, ready and aimed to help. So what can we do to help you?
Well, I don't know. I think if you just check me out on LinkedIn and give me a call if you think that I might be able to be of some help to you.
All right, we can do that. We can find you at Alan McIlhenny in Richmond, Virginia.
That's correct.
Okay, last question. It's the doozy. It's the hardest one to answer. Not kidding. If your shoe style was your personality, would you be boots, stilettos, sneakers, flats, or flip-flops?
Well, this is a very easy one for me. I grew up playing sports my entire life. I played both in high school and college, and so it would have to be sneakers.
Ah, you were a sneakers gal. Okay, I didn't see that coming. There you go. Just to show you what we don't know. So, Alan, wanted to say thanks again for being on our show here today, and we'll encourage particularly all the small business owners that are in our audience, or even those that know small business owners, if they need services of a CFO to help them do everything from dealing with the books to helping their valuations and prepare for that M&A or that big exit, they should look up RVA Business Academy and Ellen McIlhenny.
Yes, thank you.
All right, thanks for a great show.
Great, thanks.
And how about that fantastic intro by Touch Circle?